No motions were taken and no votes were made. No, that's it.
I'll make
During
a motion
executive session.
now to authorize the town council to settle the tax appeal for 5 Lois Drive based on the information provided to us in executive session.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Thank you, Mika. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay.
Thank you.
And it's now 6 o'clock, so we have to go to public comments.
Yep.
Come on up. Anybody? Wow. No? Last chance. Going once? Going twice? Sold. Okay, thank you. Okay, we'll move along to item 6, permission for A-frame signs and banners. And I guess we have Mary Lee Barker and Donna Lehman here from the Friends of the Woodbridge Library asking for a banner on the Triangle for a book sale the first weekend in June 2018. You don't like to rush into anything, right?
We are
Wow.
ahead of the game.
Holy smokes. I
We
saw-
get so busy with book
Are you sure?
donations.
June 2018?
I know. It's out of the way now.
Correct.
Oh, yeah.
Good for you guys, so great way to be there.
All right. Okay, so
You have the floor.
we'd like permission to purchase a new banner and put it up where the library has their banner for the farm sale. It would be the same size. It's 8 feet by 4 feet. We'd like to put it up in May, and the book sale, this will be our 3rd year of the book sale, and we're going to be trying to do it every first weekend in June. So it's a very simple sign. We want people who drive by to be able to see it. We had a really good turnout this year, and we're hoping to get even more if we can get some traffic that's going by. So you have it in black and white, but this is it in color. Green is the color we use for the Friends of the Library, and we would like permission to go ahead and purchase it, and then we would ask the town to put it up on the poles in May, and then each year afterwards, as long as we're having the sale.
I forget. We need, what do we need for them to do this? We need the dates first. Correct, the exact dates you want to do
First
it.
weekend in June.
Oh,
But
for
she wants to put it up in May. She wants to
We
put it up
want
in
it to
May.
go up in May. I
Do you have
think
a
one of the
specific
issues
date?
would be, I don't know what other town events there are, so we don't want to eclipse something else.
It's so far in advance.
Well, I don't know if there's
Yeah.
anything traditionally.
The Amity vote in the town meeting is the 3rd weekend in May.
Oh.
And the Amity budget votes
Yeah,
We
Yeah.
don't
do banners. This is a
No.
banner on the,
This is the banner that goes on the 2 poles.
Yeah.
It's pretty high up, so it doesn't interfere
Shouldn't
with
get in the way
the
with this.
lawn
right,
signs.
you have to
or
watch out for the
sandwich
sight
board.
line.
Right.
things like
and
that.
wherever the town would put it on that triangle, where they think it wouldn't interfere with traffic.
Yeah, okay. So if you leave it to our discretion as to
It'd
kind
be
of
your
where.
discretion exactly where to
We
put
just
it.
need
And
kind of, I guess, the dates you'd like to have it up.
we'd
and,
like it the whole month of May,
Okay,
and then of course the first weekend in June during the sale, so that during the sale, we could catch people going by.
okay. So you want it up the first week in May,
May 1st.
May 1st,
Through
June.
the end of the first weekend in June.
which is date
June 3rd.
June 3rd. Does that sound okay?
That sounds right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the library, the farm market sign, that's up there almost all summer.
Yeah, it is.
It is, so.
Yeah, that would go up after hours.
All right.
Right, that's right, ours would come down and then theirs would
Right.
come up for the
Okay.
concerts and the farm
Does
market.
anybody have any questions for Donna or Mary Lee about this?
It's like it.
We don't need insurance or anything because it's just an easy thing. Okay. So I'd entertain a motion to approve the Friends of the Woodbridge Library book sale sign commencing to be put up by the town on or before or around May 1st, depending on
Right.
the town, of Adam's ability or somebody's ability to get it up through June 3rd.
That would
And
be
then it will come
great.
down right after.
So
Is there a
moved.
second?
That'd be
Okay.
great.
It's for 2018, right?
2018.
Yeah, June 2017 went by.
No, but
Yeah.
someone made it, and then years after, I mean, we're not approving every.
Yeah, we
year,
have-
we're
you have to-
approving
You have to,
one
we
year.
have to come back every year
Yeah,
to put
you
it
have to-
up.
Yeah.
Yep.
We're actually looking, I'll just add right now, we've had issues with people calling in about A-frames that are going up here and there and signs that are up. There's a A lot of signs here, there, signs everywhere, sign.
Yeah, there
So
are.
I talked to Jerry about it this afternoon, and we agreed that probably we have to come up with a town policy.
Yeah.
Which will be the Board of Selectmen deciding. We'll try to draft something, maybe by the November meeting, get it up, because it's getting a little crazy out there.
It is, and
So-
actually, we have the mini golf coming up November 5th, old
Yeah.
mini golf through the library, which is gonna be exciting, and
Right.
we have some signs for that are
Good
going
plug
up.
while you're there.
Yeah, just one, make sure you
So
all
you'll
know
have
about
to come
that.
To us, I guess, or,
Yeah.
I don't know. Okay.
Yeah, all right.
A-frames as well.
A-frame,
We've gotta
so
work
just
on that.
for this year, and then we'll come back?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm not the boss, but
Oh.
I
Yes.
think so.
Yes,
Well, the only
I
thing-
agree with that guy.
Um, the farm market sign, I was under the impression they don't come every year. For, do they come every year for
Yeah, I
permission?
think they do.
All right, then we'll
Yeah.
come back next,
Yeah, sorry.
next
And it
October,
might be a little
November
bit
to see
different
it.
next year if we get the policy.
Whatever your policy is.
Okay.
All right, thank you,
But you
Ben.
haven't done yet.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Motion, do we all vote? All in
yeah, we
favor?
voted.
All in favor?
Oh,
Okay,
great,
it's
thank you.
done. Okay, thanks, guys.
Thanks a lot.
Okay. Moving along to item 7, liaison reports. We'll start with Terry.
Sorrow
Farms, not those?
Oh, I forgot about them. Whoops. Is Katie here?
I think
Okay.
you mentioned,
Yep.
didn't you say they were gonna put the sign,
But they didn't want to.
that they didn't wanna put the sign on our,
They're gonna put it on their barn. Because they had to go in for they were gonna put it on their own barn, but they have to come here for the
Yes.
A-frames anyway.
oh, for
So they
the,
figured.
But they
they'd do the
decided to put
triangle
the
as well.
long sign, this is
That's
Massaro
what you-
now, on the
right.
barn. But they still have to come for the A-frames, they were
but they're
told.
not here.
But she's not here yet.
Okay.
So we'll hang out, maybe she'll show up, if not, no A-frames. Okay,
Not hanging
thanks.
out too long, the Yankees. will.
Yeah. Okay, sorry, guys. Liaison reports, I'm sorry.
Covered everything in their
Okay.
future meeting, and I wasn't at the last QPOP, but Dave was. So I don't know if you wanted to say what
Sure.
happened there.
When we get to you, you can do a
Okay.
little Coupop update, thank you.
And then next Monday, the Amity Board of Ed meeting is rescheduled because of Columbus Day. So I'm gonna go to that, and Dave has offered to go to QPOP again for me.
Great, thank you. Joe?
Yes, well, I attended the TPZ meeting, and they submitted the minutes, so self-explanatory. I also attended the police commission meeting, and the chief is here to give an update on the carport, but there was a new officer sworn in. I believe his name was Officer Sanchez, and I would like to see us send him a letter of congratulations and a letter of welcome from the board. I don't know if we need a formal motion or not.
We need a motion to do that? I think that's a great idea. We'll add it to our list of, great, okay, that's
That's it.
wonderful. Okay, thank you. Mika?
I was not able to make the recreation department meeting, but they are here today, and so there'll be some discussion in terms of what they're doing. They did also have a special meeting. The Economic Development Commission meeting is actually tomorrow, so the last one was, I gave the report on the last one. And those are the only two that I was able to go with this year, so
Okay,
pass it off to you.
thank you. Okay, Joe?
No, I didn't attend any, so I don't have any reports, but just as a point of clarification, did I dream, or did we have a new liaison procedure that you talked about
It
instituting?
was a suggestion.
A suggestion, okay, all right.
Right, it
Well, I
wasn't
took it
really a
up.
procedure.
I took that
Took it
up. I just wanted to
The
clarify.
whole idea was, because we do have a lot of meetings, we do have, especially it's gonna get more, quite busy during, so the whole idea was to have,
I just wanted to be sure that I didn't
just to
miss
refresh you, that it was just but you could always check in with the chair, should I attend or not
I did
attend?
all- yeah, no
That kind of
problem. I
thing,
just
or is there
wanted-
anything you want me to liaise, if that's a verb, back and forth with the board of selectmen, so,
Got it.
yeah, if that's okay with you.
Very,
think-
well,
okay.
I think so, because
Yeah, okay.
I
It's
suggested it
working out
about
okay.
4 years ago.
Well, we finally did it. Thank you. David?
I went to 3 meetings. This is the Library Commission, the Friends of the Library fundraiser is mini golf, and that's November 3rd to 4th, I believe. They are going to have, this is interesting, a donation of beer and food from Woodbridge Social. They're still looking for sponsors for the holes for $250 per hole. They are on or under budget, which is nice. They hired 2 people.
I mean the library.
The libraries.
Yeah, okay.
This is the library, yeah.
Yeah, good. Not the golf.
Not
Not the golf, sorry.
Okay.
They are on or under budget now for their spending. They have hired 2 new people, 1 new page, so they have 3 pages, and they have a part-time young adult librarian. It should be starting this weekend. They have changes to the property and maintenance. They're changing over to LEDs per grant, and they just can't screw in the new bulbs. They have to change the sockets, so that's going to take quite a while. They're doing a humidity study with their heating, ventilation, and air conditioning system, and they're designing new systems there. They have a problem with the boiler. Apparently 1 boiler broke, and they had 1 that was non-functioning. That's going to need to be replaced, and that, they said, is coming out of the building maintenance budget. That's right. The giant tree around which the library was built needs to be trimmed back, and they're doing that. And they're also engaging in prepping and painting of the dormers. Their book delivery system apparently is having a book delivery system, which is doing okay. Skip over that. They're going to push some things from the capital budget into the 2020 year, namely the carpet that needs to be replaced. They will be moving ahead with recovering 16 of their lounge chairs, which would be about $1,000 a chair. They also voted to close the day before Thanksgiving and Saturday before Christmas, December 23rd. And then they also talked about a new logo design, and we'll go into that. So that's the library report. We have the Human Services report.
Why is that face?
What's that?
Why do you have a face? Is it that?
Oh, this one is really convoluted.
Okay.
I'll try to keep it okay. One of the issues we talked about last time was getting in touch with the high school to include information outgoing to the parents, and apparently they're revising the policy regarding that. The high school is revising the policy. So Jeanette is crafting a message to Dr. DeMay to be hopefully considered when the policy is being revised. We also talked about communicating via email, using town communications using email for town communications, something like listserv. Okay. As far as the center goes, there are a number of programs that they're talking about. One is a gentle yoga program that's going to be run by Julie Luciani, chair yoga, and this is mainly aimed at the seniors. There's a holiday fair, there's a pie sale, silent auction. And there's a new program called Seniors Reading to Kids at the Center, which sounds like a very sweet program. Okay. The youth services, after school programs are going well, the evening programs are going well. They raised the issue of Narcan for the youth services when they have programs. Should they have Narcan available? And then they questioned whether it should be in their budget or whether it should be in the police budget. And I'm not quite sure where they're coming from with this, whether there's really a need, but it was brought up. Human Services talked about holiday baskets for Thanksgiving, requests for operating budgets from the agencies that they support in the area. They have 2 ongoing projects. One is the restroom project, and the other one is the reconfiguration and building of ramps. So that's sort of going according to plan. They still haven't gotten their steep grant, obviously. There was one issue that they wanted me to bring up, and that prospective members have complained about the kind of outdated condition of the center, the lack of a restroom and the lack of a ramp. So,
Hopefully we'll solve those two problems
Correct.
with
Correct.
when the project's done.
right.
Okay.
They wanted to know that there was some public concern. Okay. So that's that. And then there was a COOPOP meeting, which actually was the most interesting meeting, I think. So there were two students from the Amity cross-country, I believe it was the cross-country club, and they have gone through the entire Blue Trail system in Woodbridge. And they made recommendations for cutting back the prickers and cutting back the overgrown areas and building wooden walkways on the muddy areas. And they're planning fundraisers to do this. They're trying to get donations from Lowe's, Home Depot, that kind of thing. They also are going to come before this board to get permission to do volunteer work on the
I
trails.
was gonna ask about that. Before they start all of it, they have to get permission. We don't have a trail master right now.
Right.
We're thinking about it. We have
Yep.
some thoughts, but when Mike Walter left, we don't, we're kind of up a creek.
Yep.
So,
Then Tony. Yep. Then there
no
was.
pun intended, sorry. Oh, I did it again.
Then there was a
Okay.
presentation about the dog park, and apparently Leslie Lyons is now the point. Leslie Lyons, yeah, is the point person
Okay.
on this, and she made a report about what's going on at the Hamden Dog Park, Vassar Park. I gave a little update on the pool, and they had one other issue they're working on is a plan of conservation and development. They want to categorize the properties. Okay. And those are the highlights of that.
That's it?
And that's enough.
Okay. Thank you.
I pared it down too.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, moving right along to item 8, former Country Club of Woodbridge Pool, John Adamovich and LaDonna Reynolds. Come on up, thank you for being patient. And the items that we talked about yesterday went to all the selectmen, they're in our packet now.
Before we start, I just wanted to say a couple of things. One, in the town of Woodbridge, we have community events. You have the library, family-oriented community events are held there. We have the concerts, Recreation puts on the concerts, that's a community event. And then we have the former Country Club of Woodbridge Recreation outdoor pool facility, all right, which is the third community event that we go on. It's part of the community. It keeps the community together. So we really have 3 right there that we could use, and that's. I just wanted to put that out front first. That those are the 3 major ones that the town of Woodbridge has. Well, the recreation department had a special meeting. We put it together. We sat down. LaDonna, myself, Dave Cohen, and Bob Hill put together a list of what we felt was going to be like this. We presented it to the rec commission. The rec commission okayed it. A few tweaks here and there. And you have it in your packet, and we're going to go over. LaDonna is going to take over now as the pool director, and go on with the program.
Okay. Hi.
Hello. Welcome.
Thank you. First of all, we were going over the rates, and we discussed about for the year of 2018 that we would keep the rates the same. And I have a list here. I don't know if anybody has it. If you need a copy, you have it. Okay, so I make copies for nothing.
Not for nothing. There could be other people that would like them.
Okay. Okay. So first of all, I was thinking of doing something a referral rate to attract more members in, and it would be per member or membership. and it would be, we came up with a number of $50 for 2018.
And a couple of the members of the commission came out with, well, what happens if somebody comes up with 10 referrals and they get back $500? Well, they're getting back $500, they're paying us the $250 that they're for their membership, but we have 5 new members at $750 family memberships or whatever they are like this, which I thought would be a great incentive. So
The other part of that adds to it is, you know, and we're glad that we're here early this year rather than doing this in May, right before opening. This will help create some positive momentum about the pool. That to move forward, we get the heater going, and that way we'll have members actually speaking positively and trying to get more people involved and making it be an even larger community event. So.
Right. And that's what we're looking for. We're looking to open it up to the community, because if somebody recommends somebody, it's always going to be a friend, a family member, another neighbor like this, and more people in the community will come in and enjoy the pool. Okay, 2.
In terms of positive, we're calling this the former Country Club of Woodbridge Pool. Maybe that doesn't have the best ring to it in terms of trying to get people to pay us a bunch of money.
Yeah.
I know,
So
but it's
maybe-
not the country club anymore.
Well, why
I
don't we
have
call
some
it the
thoughts on
Woodbridge
that,
Pool
too.
or something,
Yeah.
whatever, I don't know,
We
I
could talk-
didn't
I
think of it
that's-
that, but it just
I have a
strikes
better
me
name.
that,
I have a better name.
Woodbridge Recreation Outdoor
whatever,
Pool.
but
It's something.
strikes me as not the best thing to call it.
We can call it the Woodbridge, because we have the Woodbridge, the Beecher School pool. I don't know what that's called right now. I have a name for what I think we
I
should
guess we
call
don't
that
have to
place.
solve
but
that now, I just wanted to throw it out.
That's another,
That's a
another
good
discussion.
suggestion, Joe.
Okay.
By the way, LaDonna's kind of humbling herself a little bit. Reality is she went through the first season. She was making notes as she went along based on her experience working at other pools. Oh, okay, I know how we need to deal with this going into next year.
Right.
So just about all these recommendations here were, yeah, I know how we should address that issue. I know. And then when we sat together, you know, she basically took the lead on it, and we went through and talked through those.
Even though she was a new pool director in the town of Woodbridge, she's a seasoned pool director,
Yeah.
coming from other programs.
Yeah. Okay. Number 2, family membership includes 6 members living at the same residence, exception for shared custody. There was things that were just coming, you know, I noticed there was 10 people on one membership. I just didn't have the address for this, you know, for all the same people that were on this membership. It was Uncle Joe that visited from another state. So I think we needed to set some kind of limit that we had to, you know, bring to the membership, as well as with, I put on there down with the driver's license and identification should be shown as well. They could, for the grandparents or a nanny, you could have an extra fee. You know, a lot of people will come in and say, well, I have a nanny with me. That's going to be covered under, you know, the membership as a resident. So the other clubs that I've worked in, there was always an extra fee that came along with a nanny or grandparents.
Right, and it's not an exorbitant fee. We put down like $100 for a fee for the entire season.
Which is still
Like this.
cheaper than the single rate, and
Right.
if the grandparents do it, it's still cheaper than a couple's rate, but it also provides the family, if they want the kids to use the pool more
Yeah.
frequently and be able to have the parents bring them, have the grandparents bring, it provides an opportunity that they have greater use, but at the same time for us to capture some additional income.
And number 4, the grandparents added on at $100 each, up to $200, but for 4 grandparents, $200, because we feel if you're blessed with all your grandparents, they should be able to come and have them be there like this. And a lot of times, you know, the kids, mom and dad can't be there, so the grandparents, one side or the other, could be there. And if you have 4 grandparents, that's why we kept it at such a low rate. And she went over 5, the nanny or babysitter, 18 years or over, at $100. Their residency not required for them. Go ahead.
Couple membership can be any 2 residing at the address. I noticed this summer, you know, people would come in and say, well, my husband doesn't come, but me and my son would come. Can I get a couple membership? I didn't see that being an issue, so I would agree to that. Let's see, I spoke about the identification verification required for signing up. there's also, we need to somehow work out something when they sign up online. They're still going to have to show an ID when they come to the club of their membership or where they live.
Right.
It's going to have to match.
And this usually happens at the beginning of the season when they first get started, because like a recreation for, like, let's say early bird swimmers, something like this, they bring the buzzer, they look at this, the camera comes up, we see them like this, and we know exactly who they are. After a while, you know exactly who the people are, where they're from, and that they're registered with recreation like this. You can pick that up. But some people that you don't know, you need the identification just to find out, you know, they're not using somebody else's, card to the pool.
Okay, for number 8, resident rate provided for Woodbridge employees and BOW school staff. John and Bob and Dave all came up with this idea because it would build a stronger community. Everybody, you know, school teachers, you know, anybody else that works in Woodbridge should benefit by it. And I think it would just create, you know, definitely a stronger community.
Well, it adds to the community base of it. You have, you know, teachers coming here, teachers there, and they come to school, and the kids see them. They see their teacher. They see them in another light. It's all part of a community that the kids see that they're part of a larger community than just Woodbridge. And with the employees take a more active role if they're part of the town of Woodbridge and they join, which would be nice.
And no increase for 2018, as due to the 46 that we lost because of the late start we had and the kiddie pool being an issue, being open. So we decided, you know, not to increase the rates for 2018.
Right.
They also were increased last year 10%, so that might have been a bigger bite than we should have taken.
And even before we go any farther, even though we lost 46 members like this, we only had 8 weeks to prepare for this, and we had
2 weeks to prepare.
well,
2 weeks.
we started a little bit behind the scene, but we had a couple weeks to get going. But I want to thank the town. I want to thank Tony and Beth and everything for this, because they really helped me get the kiddie pool going. We had to get a contract, we had to come in there, and they really pushed through. And I was in Tony's office a lot, and he just and Beth like, just go ahead and go and do it. And we got it done. The crew that came in did a fabulous job, and within 4 days we had that thing up and running like this.
A few months, so it should be a good thing.
Yeah, so that was good. So thank you for really so supportive.
That's good, thank you.
And
Did everyone have a chance to review all these? I'm just wondering if we save you guys time, because we've gone over this. Does anyone have any questions on items 10 through 15? It's pretty much fees and which, if you want to talk about next, I don't know.
Well, one of the
I don't
things
want
I'd
to
like
rush
to
you
really
through
talk
it,
about
but I'm
is-
just thinking if everyone's seen it, you know.
okay.
All right, if you've seen it, that's fine. If you have any questions, you can ask us. But I do want to go over the heater. The heater is a very important part of it. We had a very cold August like this. The heater went down. We got it going. Brad Parsons was fantastic. He put so many hours into getting that thing going. He was like a MacGyver with gum and everything. He was just getting that thing going. And at a certain point, we just ran out of bubble gum or whatever to put the thing together. So, you know, and they said, well, how about patching it like this? And I have an old story on the pocket. He cringes when I do it. But you have a tractor. You have an old tractor, 60-year-old tractor, and you see to yourself, you know, the father says to the son, here's what we're going to do. Because the son wants to buy a new one. He says, we'll take the 60-year-old tractor, we'll paint it up, we'll put new tires on it, anything like this, and what do you think will look real great? And the son says, Dad, but it's still a 60-year-old tractor. And that's what we have with the heater. So we need to understand that replacing the entire heater is the most important thing like this, and that'll give us a function for the entire year. We don't have to worry about a single thing with that. And the second thing, the only other repair we have is the rebar. There's 2 little spots in the pool where the rebar has shown through like this, and we're working with Brad Parsons coming up with a diver coming in and doing a patch on those 2, going down and patching those 2 like this. It will be a temporary patch, and then down the road, if we keep the pool going, which I hope we do, we can look at better repairs and doing what we have to do to upgrade it, because it is a tremendous facility.
We did receive.
And there's no cost to the town of Woodbridge on the money. I had an account for building a skating rink, and but we needed something up front. We needed it fast, so we borrowed $60,000 from the account. We put it in. We used $24,000 to do the repairs, and there's $36,000, I believe, in that account sitting there. And we can use that money to buy the heater and to repair it at no additional cost to the taxpayers of the town of Woodbridge.
So those that were on the board last year, remember we transferred some money to make some repairs.
Yeah.
And as John indicated, of the 50 or 60 we transferred, we used less than half of it.
Yeah.
because of a lot of cooperation.
Kiddie pool,
But the tent,
yeah,
right. but
yeah.
The contractors that came in
we
did the
had to
kiddie
put in
pool gave us an
sprinkler
unbelievable price.
System in the building repairs, we
Yeah.
had to do some building improvements. But because of a lot of cooperation, a lot of hard work, we we're able to do.
We saved a lot.
So that's the funds
Yeah.
remaining.
I mean, we sat down with Tony and Brad and went through that Silver Petrocellular report, their $600,000 repair, and actually detailed through all the safety issues that had to be addressed and the mechanical issues. And to be able to complete that, I think it was actually $26,000 we ended up spending, was just, a great accomplishment and a very prudent way to spend the dollar. So, fortunately, there was already monies, moved over for it to deal with the pool. So I know Brad will need to get some estimates on the heater and that type of thing. But that would really send a very positive message to the members for them to make the commitment, knowing, hey, if they're buying a heater here, I'm going to sign up because I know this is probably going to go on for some time. Depending on what happens with the rest of the property and that type of thing, it seems like I know that you've been very supportive of knowing that, look, the residents feels,
Give it a shot.
Right.
feel that they want the pool.
And the early estimate for the heater was
I got
like
a lot
12
of
to
emails
12 to
saying
16,000,
they wanted us
and we
to
have that. We have that to cover the heater.
We had 171 memberships the previous year. I mean, that represents somewhere between 700 and 1,000 residents, aside from daily members that don't buy memberships. So hopefully we can build that. We can get some momentum going too. So.
Anyone have any other questions on the recommendations for the 2018 pool season?
Just at number 14 is just simply a short season kind of a membership.
Yeah, that's not, we're not committing to that up front.
Right.
Okay, if we, by the end of June, say we're happy with how many memberships we have, great. We may decide if by putting it in now, we don't get caught in this timing thing where, oh, wait a minute, we don't have another meeting until July, now we have to wait for the Board of Selectmen to meet. We're looking at if we do a partial membership just from August 1st to the end of the season, if we feel it's warranted, okay, we'd have the ability to announce it. That doesn't mean ahead of time, people will say, well, I'm going to sit back, I'm only going to buy an August membership. We may not do it, okay?
Right.
Because we really do want to capitalize on having a full year membership. At the price that the rate is at $770 for a family membership, it's a bargain. I mean, so.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The second item in your packet is the membership type and a list of the 2017 compared to the 2018 rates. Everyone have a chance to look? You have anything that you want to talk about with that?
It's all consistent with what was in this.
What?
So what I said, it's all consistent with what
Right.
was in the.
It's kind of an easier spreadsheet instead of the narrative. And then, no, I'm sorry, go ahead.
That's okay.
Go ahead.
I just was wondering too about, we went up last year on the daily rates and bringing them back down to what they used to be, because I noticed a lot of people turned away. Especially the family rate cost was 75 for resident, non-resident was 85, and I would, do anything to try and have them come in, but they were saying that's too expensive, and I said, well, if you, decide to join, it will apply to your membership. And it just wasn't selling, so.
Yeah, and while you were in executive session, we were out in the hall like this, and a couple of the residents came up to me and said to me, are you guys going to present anything on the daily rates? He said, because I was going to come to it like this, and I'd pay, $40, $50 for a family to come, the whole family to come like this. But looking at it, what we had, it was $130, $140 for me to bring all the people I wanted to bring. I said, we didn't come. But we would have come for, $40, $50. And I said, okay, we're looking at that, and that's why we're doing what we do. We're tweaking it and trying to get more people, and the more you get through the door, you'll win by volume.
So what
Getting
we
more
try-
people to see it.
What we try to do is run the matrix so that way we don't create a situation where, why would I buy a membership when I can just do this? So you have to kind of work through it in the way that, okay, all right, they realize it's time to buy a membership. We will, when someone is partially through, if they decide they're doing daily, and say they're, I don't know, a month into the season, they've paid daily rates for X amount of time, we track them. If they say, something, I want to buy the membership, we'll credit them for what they've paid at that point against that. So. So, by the way, I just want to mention one other thing. Dave Cohen is here, and I have to say, as we went through this year, and short notice, LaDonna picking it up, and she was like the the new school teacher that everyone was trying to take advantage of. Well, Mr. Taddy used to do this, and it's like, well, not everything that they said Mr. Taddy did was actually the way it is, and she did a great job of being able to detail and deal with a number of these things, along with Dave Cohen backing her up and providing,
Dave's our weekday supervisor. He's my weekday supervisor. He supervises all the kids, and all the children that we hire are from Woodbridge. Bethany Orange, Woodbridge, they're all from here. They work for us like this. And Dave would take a crew from that, and he'll bring them over, just like we had the road race this weekend. And Beth, I want to thank you for coming. She stayed the entire time. Her voice was a little squibby with her throat. And I think I've got that from you, but thank you for sharing with me over the lunch the other day.
I didn't hug
But Dave would bring the kids, and he'd bring them over, and we'd go over, and some things that had to get done like this, he'd bring a crew over, and we'd get the chairs moved, we'd get something done, Mr. Taddy was a one-man show, and he was fantastic, but with missing, sometimes you have to place that one person with 3 or 4 people. And that's what Dave did for us. It worked out great.
Yeah.
You also notice in your...
Are there any perks that you could offer to members, seasoned members, that would incentivize them as opposed to the daily members? Are there any perks that you could offer to the seasoned members that the daily members wouldn't have access to?
Well, we have it in here. We're looking at incentives, and that would be the incentives that we would give. The incentives would go towards the residents.
What Dave is saying is there an amenity that a member would get that a daily person would not get? We've never even thought about that in terms of, obviously, if you spread out the amount of times that they use the pool over the summer, they're obviously paying a lower fee per visit by doing that. We never really thought.
No, we could sit down and think about something like that.
Just one other point. I just want to make. Obviously, looking at Antonio's, just from looking at the budget, where we were budgeted from income and expense standpoint.
That brings us to the third sheet in your packet.
John and LaDonna LaDonna in particular, managing, knowing where we were at, knowing that we weren't going to have the income, and not just, well, I have an expense budget here. Well, no, we've got to bring that down, and at the same time, making sure that the staffing levels were appropriate, and making sure that the pool was safe at all times. If anything, in the beginning, it took a little while, look, you're the new person, sending people home, closing and that type of thing, it becomes a kind of a dicey thing, but she handled it very, very professionally. And fortunately, like last year, it shows we lost 11,000, but actually 20,000 of that in Tony's reports was golf-related expenses, so we actually were plussing last year. And for us to drop basically $34,000 in income and still only lose $4,000 is a real testament to the hard work they did. And I'm sure, this next year we get improved, now.
That's a late start.
Yeah. Hopefully, we have an early start. We can market it, and I know we'll be tasking Sheila to get a lot of this information out early.
So now we're going to have.
We hit the ground running, and we're just going to keep going.
Yes.
We're just going to keep pushing.
I like that, yeah.
We worked hard.
Yes,
Like this.
it'll be good stuff, because we're starting early.
Yeah.
We had almost 8 months, but I think it's about 6, but still, he can do it. That's wonderful, that's really good. Okay, does anybody have any other questions for these folks? Okay.
I'll leave you with one last thought.
Yes.
We had this was our 36th annual road race. It has rained 24 of the 36, the 64% rain. But we're hanging in there, and this year we had the most beautiful day.
He thanked me for the day.
Yeah, she comes and gave us a day. Well, I figured you called somebody.
So we'll
We have it on the same weekend. Usually it's the first weekend in October, but we went out looking around. We started looking around and see why our numbers dropped a little bit. The rain you can't do anything with. That's God's control. He does whatever he feels. But 5 years ago they started I think about 5 years ago, the pink race, raining in Shelton. The Shelton first selectman was also a graduate of Woodbridge Recreation Department. Kurt Miller, he worked with recreation right through. He was there, and we went and looked at their list. Oh, Seymour. Well, that's because my son lives on 17 Shelton Street in Seymour. That's a messed up thing, Shelton Street in Seymour. But Kurt, and then they run a nice program like this. They have like 2,000 runners. 36 of the runners were Woodbridge runners. And that's the basic of the people like that. So we're looking at maybe going not on, we didn't realize that it was a holiday weekend. What took the hit was, the funniest thing what took the hit was the fun run. The fun, we have 75 kids signed up for the fun run. Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, 7:15. supposedly 7:15. I was there at 6:30 like this, and I had 2 kids working with me already, and parents said, "Can I leave them with you?" I said, "Absolutely, grab the cones, let's go." And they were out there, and they come, and it's one of the greatest things like this, but we only had like 36 come. Everybody was away. Today, we had 3 little kids crying because they were talking about the fun run, and they weren't there. They weren't there, and I said, you know what, we need to tweak that a little bit, and like Joe said, look at maybe another date.
There was a kid that couldn't have been a foot tall, more than a foot tall, running, walking with his dad. And
Oh, that's Kenny. We love him. He just comes and runs. And the funniest thing, Kenny would hang on his dad's side the whole time, and now all of a sudden this year, Kenny took off, and the dad says, "I can't catch him." So
Maybe he's cross-country captain.
yeah, he could be.
When we
Thank
walk
you.
back in the back of the room and all of a sudden everyone says, did they approve it? I'll ask the question, geez, are you, well, I'm not really my place to
I
ask
just
you.
spoke with Tony. I don't know that we necessarily.
Well, you're approving the
going
rate- you're
ahead.
approving the
I
rates.
think that it's the consensus of the board that they should go ahead with the pool for this year. Do we need a motion to do that, or?
Whatever you
Maybe
say.
helpful
I don't
to
know.
get to,
It's up to the attorneys and, Jerry's not here.
yeah.
We can do a
The
motion.
rates, probably.
Maybe the rates?
Yes.
What do you think, Joe?
I don't mind improving the rates, and I know that you guys want to get started, I'm all for that. But what I'd like to see is, because what we're talking about is, well, now that we have time, we're gonna get more members and the rate. I'd like to see the rates attached to members that you think you're gonna get and a pro forma. I mean, I'd like to see that, some kind of budget.
Well, that comes right, this comes right off, I mean, our membership that we're dealing with comes right off of what, what we've had in the past. Like last year when we told you we had
Right,
121 people coming back, we projected the income based on the previous memberships that those people
Right,
have.
but
But
I
you
don't-
never know, like for instance, if we do that this year, okay, you don't know if the people that didn't come last year are coming back or not.
I don't know anything, but
Right.
all you can do is project. But as of right now, I know we lost money for 4 years in a row. And we can still vote, but I'm giving you the opportunity to maybe come to us
Actually, that's incorrect.
and show us
That's
on a pro
incorrect.
forma basis that, well, it's not incorrect.
No, because of, for the last, prior to this year, we had 3 years of $20,000 of expenses to cover the golf operation. For clean, you had Anthony.
I'm just looking at
Like
your
the
own
footnote in the bottom. So it's $20,000. Now, you did have 1 year where you lost 36, so that come down to 16.
Well, see, the other thing is, there's some years, there were golf expenses mixed in with the pool, and then there's some water and electricity expenses that aren't in the numbers. So generally, goes either way. I mean, generally, it's
And then I understand John says that it's not gonna cost the town additional money, but I think I would like to see, because it's recreation, it's still money, so I'd like to see what the quote is on the heater and things like, I don't know, I'm just speaking for myself, I'd like to see it all wrapped up in a proposal of how many members you think you're gonna have.
And what is that? It's a what?
Oh, I think it's just something electronic.
feedback,
Audio?
audio feedback.
There's,
But Joe, there's no way to predict how many people are gonna have from 171 to 121. We didn't even think we were gonna break 100, and to get 121, what we did, working as hard as we did with just a limited 2-3 weeks of
Ray, the
of
tape
time.
ended. Jerry's tape ended.
It's just us.
but Joe, to your point, this isn't the final, this is, I guess, what I need to understand then more clearly is, what are we
Well,
about to do?
I think they wanted us to.
I'm understanding that it's endorsed, it's to endorse
I'm not
their,
particularly prepared to do that, but I could approve the rates if that's what they want, but I personally, I don't have the information I would like to see to approve opening the pool, but I'm just one person.
Okay.
I like the pool, I have nothing against the pool, but I'd like to base it on something.
The whole
but
idea of doing
without
it.
an indication that we're going to open the pool, how do you prepare? How do you
We can't, we're dead in the water. I gotta be honest, we're dead in the water. If we can't move ahead right now, we have to wait till your next board of selectmen meeting. You have to sit down, do what you want to do, and then come to us and say to us, okay, you're ready to go. And then we go out to bid. We can't go out ahead of time before you make any decision. You have to make the
I don't
decision.
see how that's possible, John. I don't wanna argue with you, because
Well, you don't have to argue with you, Joe, but you can-
I'm friendly to the pool, and I voted for the pool, but
Yeah.
what are you giving me to vote for the pool?
Well, Joe, part
We'll
of
take the 121 we have, take the 121 we have.
Rates are the same, and we hope we get some people to come.
part of that is historically you've got 4 years of registrations to base on. It isn't like this is a new business where we're saying, geez, how many customers do you think are going to come? There is some basis here for customers.
So how many?
Well, you had
Where's the
this
pro
past year.
forma? Where's the pro forma?
This past year we had 125.
So
the year
Bob,
before.
all I'm asking for is a pro forma for 218 to give me those figures. If you know those figures, why aren't they here?
Is the $82,000 based on the, what's your revenue stream? Where do you get your revenue from? What does
Membership.
Membership fees.
The memberships, yeah. So
Right.
if we divide that by the amount of memberships, we know that that's an indication. Your 4-year rate is somewhere in the average of 90 some odd to $100,000 per year over the last 4 years. So there's no, in the way I'm looking at it, there's no reason to think that that's going to significantly differ this year, and there's every reason to believe that it'll significantly, or I won't say significantly, that it would, there's every opportunity to increase that because none of the previous, particularly not last year, were they given the opportunity to start and market to the degree that they can now. My sense is that what you're looking for is the ability to move forward.
I understand that.
So
So what do they think the ability to move forward now is going to do for them? We're all saying it's going to give them more time and more memberships, right?
it should.
No,
it
the
should
opportunity to get
result-
more memberships,
It
Joe.
should
If
result.
you had
in-
171 memberships, and you had 22 weeks to prepare for that, to get those 171 memberships, and you turn around to this crew and say to this crew, here you go, we're gonna give you 3 weeks, 4 weeks, and we okayed it, and go ahead and do it, and you put it together, and we come up with 121, I think that's pretty darn good for a 3-week, forward to look at.
I'm not suggesting that anything you've done has not been excellent.
But I'm showing you, if you look at the two together, I'm a simpleton when it comes to things like this, but I look at something and say, 3 weeks, you come up 121, you got 5 months, 6 months now to work on this, to go to the people, to talk to people, to send out flyers to people, to send out things and ask them, are you coming back like this? To give them the incentive, say, look, you put your $100 down, you hold your membership for this year, and we'll hold your membership for next year. There's an incentive right there. You hold your membership for next year if we do go up on a thing, but you won't go up. So there's a few things.
There's no penalty if they don't, right?
No penalty at all. There's no penalty at all. It's just an incentive.
They're doing that so that you can get an idea of your numbers.
The problem is because we're not, that would have been fine last year when the rates went up 10%, that you said, sign up early to get last year's rates this year. We're not raising the rate. So we really won't be, we can poll the people like we did previously last year. If you remember, before the March Board of Finance meeting, we polled the members. We found out there were 121 that were planning on coming back. We got 125 people to sign up. The difficulty that this, I've seen this now for the last 3 or 4 years, is what ends up happening here is, because we're not proactive with this business model of operating this pool, we end up being reactive, and we're always working from behind. And because of that, like last year, when I sat here on January 11th, and I was sitting with Anthony Taddy there, and at the end of the meeting, he was angry. And I've never saw the man angry before. And what I realized was he had made a commitment because he thought he'd have an answer that night, because we had been through a number of meetings on the pool, and the can got kicked down the road all the way until we got into May. And he ended up accepting another job. Right now, the pool director you're looking at right now, she's a free agent. Okay, someone offers a job, we'll be in the same scramble we were last year. And so we had to decide, and I got to tell you, you want to have, a purposeful plan to.
You guys gave us these pro formas the last 3 years.
Yeah, it was in the town budget. It was in the town's budget.
Yeah.
Well, whatever. Where is it now? I don't see it. Listen, I'll vote tonight if anybody wants to. I just voiced what I would rather see.
I think we should take a vote.
And I don't know how much this heater's gonna cost.
What?
Can we get the preliminary?
We could, but I don't want to wait another month if, one way or another. It depends on what the vote goes, but I think we should take a motion to allow them to proceed to open the pool for this
My sense is
upcoming
that-
season. Could I just add one thing that don't forget, we have a lot of programs in town that we actually pay for. We don't make money on them. We don't get revenue. Sometimes we lose money. There's a lot of things, and this is part of the business of taking care of residents and providing things. And so we'll lose a little bit of money here and there. And I know it was at one point a high number, and now it's $4,465 last year. I'm willing to take a shot and see if they make it. That's my opinion.
And along those lines, my sense is that there's an additional 7 families away from breaking even if everything goes according to last year. I think based on the circumstances this year, and I was very skeptical in terms of the expenses, particularly considering what we were hearing early in the year when I was sitting at the meetings as far as the work that had to be done, et cetera. I was very skeptical as to whether or not it was going to be feasible for them to open and or make any or break even, or if it was going to be an extensive expense to the town. But I think I look at it as you've proven that you deserve the opportunity to see if you can get 7 to 10 additional families and not lose the equal amount or more. I think you've proven that there's enough family, there's enough interest, and there's the performance is there demonstrating that.
And most importantly,
You
I got a
deserve the
lot of
opportunity to
emails
do it
and
the way you
phone
wanna do it.
calls from folks who want to have the pool again, and I listen to them. So we can. I guess.
I agree with everything that's been said.
Okay.
But are we saying that there's gonna be no capital investment of town money to operate this pool, or just the rebar thing? I'm just.
As far as we know, looking at the pool and what we have to do, the 2 things for next year that we should be doing, the 2 major things we should be doing is the rebar in the pool and the heater. And that's as far as I can see. Anything that pops up after that, I couldn't tell you, I can't read a mind, but those are the 2 that we're looking at.
We know about right now.
That we know about right now that we can cover.
And we did a lot of work last year.
We did a lot of work last year to get everything prepared, the kiddie pool and.
So I'm not holding your
Yeah.
feet to the fire, but as far as you
Yeah.
know, there's nothing major that we need to.
No.
If there was an unforeseen expense, a significant expense, something that came up that just
Might have to revisit
changes,
it.
right. There's nothing that precludes us from revisiting this and
Right.
saying,
Right.
it's not in the town's best interest to do this.
Given
But
the
based on
stage
the
of the
information,
change and
At this
everything
stage,
else,
this is what we sat down, we
Right.
looked at with Brad, with Tony and Beth, we looked at with this, and this is what we had to do. We can do it. We can do these 2 repairs and go from there. And then down the road, come back again and revisit it and see what has to be done to improve it beyond that.
John,
just
do you have a feel for the level of commitment of last year's members going forward?
I believe so. I believe
Yeah, we emailed.
we
right?
email everybody out. Everybody's just waiting. We told everybody we're going to be presenting it like this and see what happens like this. And as soon as we come out and we find out and we can go out there like this, then we can email out and look and see, can you, and do another survey. We can do another survey and see if we can get a survey back to see,
I told
We
a lot of
did, no, we
folks
did.
this
We did that. We
did.
marketed that.
We
I
got
don't
back
think-
about-
I don't know if we have to do
I think
that.
it was 120, 121.
Yeah, so we're in that ballpark. And, if we can come up with, I'm saying 15 members. 15 members would push us way over the top, and that's what you're looking for. Anything above that, I'd be proud. I was proud of the 125.
Yeah, when we
if we
lost
get-
members, we did lose some other members that signed up for other activities or other pools. And
Right.
also keep in mind, the kiddie pool didn't open until July 14th. And so at that point in time, some of those people that were going to sign up, that the kiddie pool was an issue. And there were 2 ends of the kiddie pool issue. There was those that wanted to use the kiddie pool, and there were those that didn't sign up because they were afraid that those kids were going to be in the big pool.
Right. That was a catch-20.
There's an understanding you have, and a clear understanding that you have, that should something else come up and this not appear, and for some reason this not become in the town's best interest, things could change.
Absolutely.
But it would have to
We
be
understand.
an extenuating circumstance.
We understand that, but what we're looking at right now, I think we can handle.
So, does anyone have anything else that we can discuss after we make a motion? I'd like to, you want to make a motion?
No, please,
Okay.
please. Well, you please.
Okay. I'd like to make a motion that we go ahead with approving the operation of the pool for the 2018 season, pursuant to our discussion this evening. Anything else I need to put in the motion? With the rates?
Rates, yeah.
As the rates is discussed in this evening. And 2 expenses included in that motion for the pool. We need, I guess you're gonna have to get
Price of the heater?
prices of the heater, but you think it's around 10,000-ish?
No, I said about 12 to 16.
Okay, all right. For the heater, prices for the heater and also the rebar.
Fixing the 2 rebar
repair.
spots.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much for helping us. Thanks.
you.
Maybe you could get more data that Joe needs. You know.
Yeah, we'll look into it, Joe.
Keep Joe in the
We'll do what
loop.
we can do. We'll try to get you some data.
Let them
whatever
know
we can
exactly
get.
what you need, and they'll
We'll
get
go
it
for
for
it.
you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you for all your work, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Whoops. Massaro Farmer here. Just go ahead, Frank and Ray, but quick, right? What? Yeah, let's do the police next. Hi, guys. We did it at earlier, because could you wait just till the police presentation? But we see you're here now. Thank you. They've been hanging out a long time. You remember those days, Maria, right? Yes, yes. Thank you.
How you doing?
How are you? Haven't seen you in forever. Fire department days. Thank you.
Yep, go down the hallway, take a left. Yeah. Yeah,
Through halfway through. Really?
yeah, that's good thinking.
Nerves. We'd like to introduce Chief Capiello, and Deputy Chief Ray Stewart, and Brian Humes, right?
Correct.
So you guys have the floor.
Great, thanks. Just a quick recap, because I know there's a few new members of the board since we last spoke about it, so I'll be brief with the recap. But as you're aware, it was back in the early 1980s when we moved from the basement of the town hall into our new, what was a new location across the street at the old center building. And that was in early 1980s, and then back in 2009, the Board of Police Commissioners decided to reevaluate the status of the facility to see where we stood at that point. And at that time, they contracted with Brian and his firm, Jakunski Humes Architects, to conduct a professional space needs assessment of the facility. That was 8 years ago, and at that time, it showed that we had outgrown our facility, and they recommended then that we increase from the 10,000, just over 10,000 square foot footage that we had to 19,700 square feet approximately. And he recommended various renovations and upgrades to improve our operational efficiency and also to bring us up in compliance with federal and OSHA mandates. So now we've been in our facility for about 30 to 35 years, and with little or no renovations done, and we've patiently waiting while other town projects have been completed. So we're hopeful that our renovations are coming closer to fruition, and over the next few years we'll be able to start moving forward with the renovations to the police facility. And I encourage any of you, some have visited, and any of you that would like to come over for a visit, we'd more than welcome you to do so we can show you where we're at. So with that said, approximately 4 years ago, with the assistance of the finance director and a lot of hard work by the deputy chief, the town was awarded a $500,000 steep grant to be used in conjunction with permanent renovations of the police facility. Over the past several years, the project had been put on hold, so really nothing was done with the funds until most recently, and as you know, currently and ongoing today, a large portion of the grant is being used for the construction and replacement of the radio tower out at the back of the PD and changing the lattice structure to the current monopole, and that's progressing very smoothly, and it also incorporated an outside storage building to house the related radio equipment. With the remaining balance of the grant funds, our plans are to construct a covered sheltering for the police vehicles. Like the radio tower and the storage building, the carport would be a permanent structure that will be there and will be in place for the future. So when the time comes that we are able to move ahead with our renovations, those permanent structures will all be in place. And just quickly, over the past 10 years, carports have become a staple to new police facilities. Some of the benefits that they include, especially here in New England, our vehicle accessibility during the fall weather, increase response times so the vehicles be kept clear of snow and ice, prevents and reduces the risk of officer injuries due to slip and fall related accidents. And it's be a great assistance to the police department and the public works. We talked over with Warren also in facilitating snow removal and the jockeying around of all the cars back and forth throughout the day. Additionally, now the police vehicles are filled with a lot of electronics. It wasn't like before when the only thing they had was a police radio. Now the cabins are temperature sensitive and they're filled with laptops and mobile data terminals, e-tickets for printers, and also for security reasons. The cars are equipped with long guns, rifles, and shotguns, and for those reasons they can't be left with the windows cracked open and outside. So with the board's approval, and at the end of August, we engaged in a project design agreement with Brian's firm, and early last month he came out and met with Ray and I to identify locations in the rear of the police department building that would be the most optimal for placement of a shelter, and to see exactly what we could do and what type of canopy or shelters we could get to protect as much of our fleet as possible, but to remain within the budget funding that was left with the grant. So with that, Brian's here to share his thoughts and his designs that he's come up with.
Thank you. For the record, Brian Humes from Jakunski Humes Architects. We're out of Berlin, Connecticut. And as the chief mentioned, we have been involved with some of the planning early concepts for renovations. And back in 2008, I think when we started that, a carport was part of that program suggestion. So it's not a new concept. And as was mentioned, we deal with carport construction at police departments quite a bit because our majority client are police departments throughout New England. And carports are becoming more and more a staple, as the chief mentioned. The chief, when he called me, he says, "Good news, we've got some money for renovations at Woodbridge Police," and I was all excited, and then he said, "It's carports." Well, that's fine. When we look to do carports, we budget, and if anybody was to ask me about a carport structure, we budget about $10,000 a space for a carport. That's kind of our quick answer to the question, how much do carports cost? So at $10,000 a space, Chief says that the budget is allowing about $150,000 to construct the carports. So quick math says, okay, we can cover 15 cars. Well, we came down and looked at the site, and I gave you an aerial which is now proposing 2 carports to be designed for the facility. The way the photograph shows, it shows fleet vehicles to the far right. That's currently where fleet vehicles are to be parked, but the carports are intended for the fleet vehicles. The carports are not here for staff vehicles. So in this picture, the staff vehicles would be then to the far right, and the fleet vehicles would be located underneath a proposed 12-car carport. And that's carport B, which shows on the plan. To the far left are 4 spaces, which we're calling canopy A. So using the existing parking lot, using the existing drainage, using all of the existing paving, all of that would remain, and a 4-car carport is being proposed to the far left, and that's where administrative vehicles are being parked. And then a 12-car carport is canopy B. The area of canopy B currently has 14 cars parked in that area. If we're looking to do carports, we recommend that the bay spacing be increased from a 9-foot wide bay to a 10-foot wide bay. Because when they're utilizing this for shift change, what we find is the 9-foot wide bays create too tight of a condition for going out for shift change when the doors are opening and they're trying to get items in and out of vehicles, fleet vehicles. So we always are recommending for fleet vehicles a 10-foot wide bay. So we're taking a 14-car space currently and bringing it to 12 spaces underneath the carport, going from 9-foot wide bays to 10-foot wide bays. It's the most economical approach on this would be a pre-engineered type of structure. And when I say pre-engineered, it means it's coming from a factory already as a kit of parts and would be shipped to the site, and a general contractor would then be contracted to prepare footings and foundations and erect the structure that's already been designed, engineered, and it has to be designed and engineered for your locale for wind and snow loading. The options on these carports are whether you want semi-cantilevered or with a column in the middle. I've given a picture of a semi-cantilevered carport, which have been popular for the police departments we've worked on, because this puts the column at the tire locations. It doesn't put the column near the doors. So for the 4-car carport, it would be a similar single slope carport, and it would drain off the rear onto the lawn area. For the 12-car carport, what they do is they just design these back to back. So we have indicated 6 columns at canopy B, which is the 12-car, and we've indicated 2 columns in canopy A. But they're minimal in size, just supporting a simple structure over top. The other thing that we're looking to do for these carports is bring some lighting out to it and bring some power. So taking power from the existing building underground to the carport, conduit would be going up one of these columns to the roof area, and lighting would be installed under the carport to only provide some general illumination. We're not looking to light it up with a bright light, but we do want to provide some sort of illumination, minimal illumination under the carport for use in all hours of the day. All of this would be, night sky compliant, non-glare, and up within the canopy structure itself. We're proposing that if it's acceptable to you and the board, that we prepare these documents for a similar type of structure. We feel we can meet your budget, but we'll be asking the contractor for a price to do just canopy A, and then a price to do just canopy B, and then a price for both canopies. If there would be some economy of scale to do both at the same time. So it's not just an A, a B, but give us a price. If C, for some reason you think there's an economy to do both at the same time, then give us a price for C, and then see how the pricing comes in compared to your budget. I think we'll be pretty close to your budget. Colors are an option, but it's limited to the color of the trim around the top of the canopy. If there's anything else that wants to be painted, such as columns, such as the understructure, that all has to be field painted, and that would be part of the contractor's responsibility to field paint. But this is all galvanized steel that you're seeing. Painting would just may become another maintenance item for you down the road. The trim around the top is aluminum, and you can get that in various colors. But it's very functional, and it'll serve the purpose, and I think it'll do a good job, and we've had other police departments very happy with similar types of structures. So with that, I'm here to answer any questions.
Has the police commission looked at this and given you a recommendation or talked about it at all as how they want you to proceed, or I just need to guess the history about this a little bit?
Yes, they're aware that we're proceeding and that I'm going to come here tonight. They haven't actually seen the pictures. Brian just got them to us since our board meeting last week, so I'll share them with our board. But no, they haven't actually seen the pictures.
Questions?
Tony, how much is the tower?
The tower, current budget for the tower is about $350,000. The grants for,
The building and everything?
correct,
So all
yep,
in?
all in, design fees, all that stuff. And I'm hoping to come in, may come in even a little less.
Okay.
Because we have a contingency in the tower project in case we hit some rock or, something came up for a change order. But so far, we've been pretty lucky. So it may be actually a little more, but right now, 150 is a conservative bet. And we've had some discussion about the deadline for the grant, if you remember from the last year. And so the current grant deadline is March. But I've been assured that if we have a project that's ongoing, that I can get an extension. So I'm not sure what the deadline is for this, or what the
Total-
timeline is.
Total grant was 500?
500, yeah.
So is it appropriate to construct these in the winter time? I mean, it's just those posts.
It's just the concrete and footings and foundations.
Right.
If those are in, the rest of it can be done in any weather.
But the foundations would have to be in by when?
We would give the contractor an option to when he would like to start. I would assume we would put the design documents together. We would put out the bid, which would take it probably at least a month, get bids back, evaluate those. So we could have bids by January, February, and then start when the frost comes out of the ground.
Is that enough to get us the extension?
Yeah, it's awarding the bids by March, the middle of, first week of March.
That
As long as
should
the
be,
bids are awarded and the contract's awarded, that would be enough.
that would be achievable.
Yeah.
Are you planning to incorporate solar panels in these structures?
No.
Why not?
The company that we're going to doesn't have a solar system for the canopies. You can always go out and get another vendor, outside vendor, to incorporate solar. It would be something that the carport could handle, because they're only about 5 pounds a square foot on the canopy structure, so it could support a solar. But for the budget that we've been given, we don't have any plans to outsource a solar project for this.
My understanding is that municipalities can get solar panels installed at no cost.
It's not something that we're, within our contract, we're pursuing.
And why 2 structures? Why 2 carports?
Well, we're trying to cover the maximum number of cars that we can. And we looked at proximity to the entrances and proximity to the doors, entry doors. And it seemed like the 4 cars that are currently there, up closest to the entrance, being administrative vehicles, those are important to get covered. And then we're left with the budget and the existing conditions in the rest of the lot. So we've taken the condition that has 14 cars closest to the rear entry and said that's your second best opportunity. With the budget, we don't want to reconfigure parking lots, we don't want to reconfigure drainage, and with this conclusion, we're not impacting any impervious or pervious surfaces out there. So there's no change in runoff for drainage. We get into expanding parking, then we're changing pervious surfaces.
So this canopy B can't be made larger?
Not with the current circulation in that lot. Not without increasing the lot either closer to the building, with the grass area that's between the lot and the building. And that's not a flat area, that's a sloped surface currently. So it's not extending it just horizontally. You're gonna have to actually cut into that bank and potentially put retaining walls. Or we didn't want to extend any closer to the street. So it's just using existing conditions wisely.
And another plus with Canopy A, I know Brian mentioned the administrative side of it, but also throughout the other, the other 2 shifts, in the overnight shifts, very frequently when guys come in to take calls or to meet somebody in the lobby or transport a prisoner or whatever, that's where they park, right up on top there, and enter from there. So their cars will, in the absence of administrators, they'll be used very frequently throughout the shift by the on-duty personnel when they come in.
So, what do they need from us going forward? Do they need a motion to proceed, or? We don't have Jerry here, I'm sorry.
Well, to stay on that timeline.
I would say-
I would think we probably should get them.
Yeah, I
So
would
you'd
say
like a
so.
motion from us
Yeah.
this evening to proceed with the next step. Okay, I'll make the motion that we authorize, who's gonna do this?
We're gonna prepare bidding documents
Okay, prepare bidding documents, okay.
based
For-
on the concepts
Based on the
presented.
concept that was presented to us this evening, okay. Is that all you need right now? Okay.
Yeah, because
and
eventually you'll have to approve the bids.
Right, because
and they
it's
come
gonna go
back.
out to bid, we'll have
Right.
the RFP.
So we're
okay.
approving these plans to go out to.
Correct.
Right,
Right.
okay, all right,
Second.
thank you.
This design would be the
All right.
alternate one.
Is there a second?
I second.
Thank you. Any other questions or discussion?
I would strongly recommend that solar be investigated for this project.
I think cost-wise, it's not gonna, but we could
Well,
certainly,
But we can do that, it's not the school.
Correct.
But
You
we
can always do that.
maybe
And
as an
the
add-on.
energy
And a lot of times
committee
the way-
can do that, right?
Yeah, and a lot of times the way that solar could work at no cost up front is that you enter into an agreement over a period of years, which you buy this power back from the installer.
Correct.
And
But that wouldn't be a part
but
of
that
what
wouldn't be
you've
part
been
of this. You
doing
could
right now.
always do it at any
No,
point.
it's
No,
not
but the
connected to our
wiring
plan.
might,
With-
anticipating the installation of that might be included in the plan.
Well, Brian, you say this structure can hold,
They can hold
it can hold the panels.
But you also said that, I'm sorry, Joe.
No, it's okay, and it can hold the weight, but it also would it be easy to install those on the?
those are pretty much plug and play, yeah.
Is there additional requirement in terms of the conduits and things of that nature that you mentioned earlier?
Yeah, we would put a spare conduit in if you wanna have another pathway.
Do we
I
want
agree with David, it's,
That's not.
Good idea.
that's a, I think
No,
that's a no-brainer.
that's easy to,
It's fairly incidental, I
Yeah,
Okay,
it's good.
is that a good idea? You good
Yeah,
with that?
I would.
Okay, all right,
I would
we'll add
say
that to the
that's-
motion then, all right, that you investigate that.
Yeah.
And we have you accept that friendly addition?
Yes.
You seconded it, okay.
Oh, Joe second.
Oh, okay, Joe, sorry, thank you. Any other questions, discussions? Okay, all in favor? Good luck.
okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, God, am I getting stuck here. Okay, moving on to item 11, the administrative officer. Oh, Massaro, I forgot about you guys. Come on up. Sorry.
It's okay, we'll be quick.
Good evening. Sorry about that, I was so caught up in
No
work.
worries, it's okay. Thank you for coming, and I'm sorry they were here for.
Yeah, it's
an
fine.
hour, and I
It's
still
great.
Just do this, so I have to make you wait, which I need to make anybody wait. So you guys are here tonight, we asked you, we had heard from Adam came in and said that there was a banner that you wanted to put up on the firehouse, and I said, oh, you gotta come to the Board of Selectmen.
Yep.
So I guess you chose to just put that up at the Massaro?
Well, we have it, and we can, I mean, if we have permission, we can
heard that
certainly.
you guys were just gonna put it up at on the bar.
So two things. I wanted to just,
Okay.
I wanted to clarify because I think we have been going into TP&Z and filling out the forms when we put up sandwich boards. But I understand now that, which we do have them currently up. We
Right.
filled out the form for our annual family fun day. So just making sure that we're crossing I's, T's and dotting I's to be here because I understand now you're asking for presence to actually approve that.
Right.
So we do also have a banner, which we can actually put up on the lawn over there for the event on Saturday. We did have it up at the farm, but if we do have permission, we can put it there where it might get a little bit more visibility.
We didn't put it on here because we missed, as far as what you were requesting tonight, unfortunately, because we thought it was gonna go up on the barn, so.
It's on here.
It's on here, it's on here.
It's under 6B.
Yeah, we did talk.
The friends.
triangle.
It's under the
Banner
friends.
on triangle.
Banner on triangle, okay, it is on there, all right. It's going up on the barn, I'm so sorry, I've been fighting a cold for a week.
That's okay.
Okay, it's a little crazy here. Okay, what has happened in the past is normally when Maria remembers from the Board of Selectmen in the last couple of years that with A-frames, because it got so crazy, we were asking folks to come to the Board of Selectmen to put up A-frames and also put up banners. And apparently when people go to plan and zoning, we found out that they don't get told they need that part. So, sorry. So that'd be, an obvious error. Because when you say, is that all we need? Yep, okay, fine, out you go.
Exactly.
And all of a sudden stuff goes up. So there's a miscommunication, not anyone's fault at all. But going forward, earlier in the meeting, we decided, I explained to folks that were here and to the board that the Board of Selectmen were gonna come up with a policy for going forward for banners and signs and things like that, which will be added to the packet when you go in to plan and zoning that says you have to come to the Board of Selectmen going forward to get these things up, because things are appearing in all different crazy places. We could have an intersection with 75 A-frames because everybody's advertising their event, and we just sort of want to know what's going up and for how long and things like that. So we asked that going forward, but that's not anything you need to worry about for tonight.
Sure. Is because a lot of the organizations that are putting those out, whether it's the library or the high school or the Scouts or the farm, are doing them on a regular basis, I don't know if there'll be any consideration for approvals so that they don't need to come to the selectmen for every single one. But that's up to you guys.
We're gonna have to talk about that.
Yeah.
Right. Because then it could end up getting crazy quickly if they don't. So there's other signs that are going up. There's flashing signs. There's all sorts of stuff. So we've heard a lot of calls. So going forward, we're just going to come up with a policy. But
sure, just
to let you know. But
okay.
As far as tonight, shoot it. Whatever you want to do.
Okay.
Give us a presentation.
So again, we're here, we're sort of getting close to the point of winding down at the farm, but these signs and this banner are particularly for our annual Family Fun Day celebration, which is sort of our version of the Fall Harvest Festival at the farm, and cooperating with other businesses in town through the Economic Development Commission and the Fallapalooza. Last year we saw especially a great increase in foot traffic, so we're hoping to get that again. So these signs are all relating to that event, which is coming up this Saturday.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're basically asking, as of probably tomorrow, since your event is Saturday, to put these signs, the A-frames in. Do you have locations? Are they out already, or?
The A-frame signs are out, actually.
Okay.
Yes. Because I thought that we had done what we were supposed to.
It's okay.
Right.
I understand.
Yeah.
It's not anyone's fault.
But the
So
banner,
where are they right now?
intersection of 113 and is it 63, the near Blue Check Deli. There's one at Ansonia Road and 313, and then the third one is at the intersection of Racebook Road and 313.
Okay.
So those are the 3 A-frames we put out.
That's great. And then as far as the banner, you would like to put it up, or where would you like to have it?
I think if we can, you have arrangements, you can put it up, on
Adam
the
was
lawn out here?
willing to do it, and then he just stopped, so
Yeah.
I'm sure if you would like it up before, and it'll come right down after.
Sure.
Okay, so that would be on top of the old firehouse?
I think we just put it up on posts out on the grass, like on the grass triangle.
There's one there now? Is there one there
Adam
now?
Parsons puts it up, so
there's
that
nothing
There's
out
nothing there now.
Okay, great, okay.
Yeah.
And the size of the banner, I'm sorry?
It's 2 foot by approximately 7 feet.
Okay. Okay. Does anybody have any questions for them? So I'll make a motion that we authorize Massaro Farm folks that are represented tonight to put up, we'll just agree that the signs, the banners, the A-frames will stay up, and you'll take them down as soon as the event is over in a timely manner. And we'll authorize also permission for the banner, authorizing the Family Fun Day on Saturday, 2 foot by 7 foot, to be put up on the old firehouse.
Great.
Come down
Thank you.
shortly after.
Sure.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions or discussion?
I just want to one thing.
Sure.
I expect that all of you bring yourselves, your children, and your grandchildren.
I have something so important.
This
I have a
is
wedding.
so.
I have a
This
wedding.
is such
I can't
a
come back.
community building event
I
that
know.
you've never seen before. It's like crazy. So
I am
that's
actually
good.
performing a wedding, so I can't miss it. So
That's
I
all
won't be
right.
able to
Your
be there.
excuse,
Sorry.
but everybody else.
Everybody
please
else
come.
can come. Yes. Okay. Thank you,
All right.
Maria.
You're welcome.
Okay. All in favor? All right. Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
Okay, guys. Thanks for waiting. Now the administrative officers reports.
Thank you. So I have in front of you our first monthly report for the fiscal year 2018. And so what I tried to do is put together what I know so far about this fiscal year's activities, and give you a heads up as to where I think we'll be as of the end of the year. So as you can see, The result is a rather large deficit of about $500,000. And I want to explain how I got to that point. And it leaves us with a $4.48 million fund balance, which is about 9.25% of our annual expenses. As we indicated in our last meeting, 10% is a good sort of benchmark. We like to see if we can be around 10% or more. The reason for the large deficit, of course, is still up in the air here, and I wanted to just give you an idea of where we would be based on the governor's executive order from October 1st. And as you can see, there's a small surplus in interest income as we're doing well. The market continues to do well, and we continue to generate surplus in that department. But the intergovernmental revenues is assumes a deficit or a reduction in state aid of $915,000. So that is, of course, the main reason why there's a projected deficit at the end of the year. This also assumes that the town doesn't take any steps in that ensuing year, which I'm pretty sure we will, to try to mitigate that deficit. This is sort of the worst case scenario for you. As you can see, our fund balance in this particular report is 9.25%. Currently, it's, as of June 30th, it was 11.25%, so it's a 2% reduction in our fund. That's a percentage of our.
Because we're actually using 930,000.
Right.
Just so people know.
Correct.
Because the 400's built in.
Correct. 400's built into the budget. So you're absolutely correct. So it's a $930,000, $900,000, a little over $900,000 use of our fund balance. Now, to offset that, however, the Amity Regional School District has indicated they will be sending us $553,000 in remaining funds from the fiscal year. So that helps, because otherwise, as Joe indicated, we have the $900,000 from the state plus the $400,000 in the budget would be 1.3 or so. However, Amity is returning some funds of $553,000 in surplus funds from the district operations. So what I did here in this projection is reserve $220,000 of that for next year's budget. As those who are not part of the budget process, typically what we've done here with Amity surplus funds is reserve them for the next year's budget. So if we use the entire $500,000 to offset this year's deficit, you'll have a rather large hole in next year's budget. So I didn't think that was proper. So for this particular budget, it's a $220,000 reserve for next year, which means that we can recognize the remaining $300,000 in this year's budget. Hope this isn't confusing, but at the end of the day, that gives us a roughly $500,000 deficit. So we'll stay tuned and see where we actually wind up.
Tony, when you say
basically what you've done is you got the 914.6, right?
Right.
You take away the 332.9.
Right.
You got 581.7.
Plus the 50.
And you add the extra 50.
Correct.
And you got the 5.
Correct.
That's
pretty much it. Yeah.
Okay. So really, it's all driven by
the state.
Right.
Correct.
You're projecting everything else to pretty much be the same.
Right. It's true, but the big wild card is the state.
I mean, I know it's early, but that's what
we know right now.
Yeah.
So that's what we know right now.
Right.
So it could change at any point.
Right.
And
the rest of our budget could change.
And we could take steps to ask departments to help with the deficit, whether we change programs or we adjust staffing.
Now, when does that 914? When do we know whether that's a real number or not?
till when the budget.
I wish I knew that.
is approved.
We thought it was gonna be
But now,
October
for
1st.
example, if
So
things,
forget the question when. Are we fairly certain that's a real number whenever, we don't know that either.
No.
right? So-
Do you know anybody you could call for us?
No.
Because some of the, there's been different reports.
Right.
Some budgets have us actually with a little more than last year. That's the one budget. Another budget has us at 914. I took the number that was from the governor's executive order, but that was dated
So
October
we're kind
1st.
of operating
but
under
this
now
this
because
all
they
just
haven't
assumes nothing else
decided what they're
changes
doing.
in the other budgets. For example, the Woodbridge
Correct.
school budget right now is $300 and some odd thousand.
Right.
above budget.
Right, yeah.
And also, when you say amount
There's-
equal to this year's budget, $220,000?
Right.
That's when you say
So
equal
this
to
year, in
the
this year's
increase?
budget, we have reserved from last year, $220,000 in Amity returns funds.
Okay, gotcha.
So that means if we don't have that in next year's budget, that's an
Well, we
automatic.
gotta make that up.
You have to
We
make
gotta
it
make it up
up.
somewhere,
I mean,
I
Right.
understand.
If it stays, we may have to some point decide that.
You may.
If it stays 914.
You may.
We use it this year.
You
and
could.
Then find it next.
You
I
could
don't
do
know,
that.
But it's, yeah.
You could do that,
But
yes.
these numbers don't include Dr. Gilbert's.
They do not, no, it doesn't, and it doesn't include that, and it doesn't include, we still have a lot of money in contingency
Right,
in some other departments, so I just wanted to give you the major items,
Right.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah. So we'll stay tuned, as soon as we know, we'll let you know,
okay.
yeah,
I hope so.
yeah. It's,
We'll all know together.
Tony, so this is obviously a moving target. We
Correct.
don't know what the budget is, but
Right.
state budget. But in the worst case scenario, can we cover that?
yeah, we just, in worst case scenario, what happens is we
We got the fund.
draws down on our fund balance.
Draws down on the fund
Which is
balance.
why you have a fund balance, for unanticipated revenue shortfalls, expenditures that come up that you didn't plan for that are, significant.
Right, so the worst case right now, as we know it, is actually a little worse than this because of Beecher.
Could be, yes.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Could be.
So as of right
Good
now, we're
point.
using 930 of that,
Yeah.
Right.
almost $1 million of that
So-
fund balance.
right, that's correct.
Right.
Correct.
But we would still end up with a 9 and change, so it's still,
Probably around
fund
9%.
balance would still
Roughly
be-
around 9%, which isn't
Okay.
horrible, which is pretty good still,
Yeah.
considering, compared to other towns, actually, it's still pretty
Considering the
good.
circumstances.
We
Yeah.
got a letter from the state at one point asking us for our fund balance to report, and they asked a lot of other municipalities
We-
for the same thing.
We sort of,
And we,
we took a lot of steps
Yeah.
last fiscal year to try to build up our fund balance because of this
Right.
eventual.
Will that have any effect on our credit rating?
No,
Okay.
no, because there's actually about 6 or 8 municipalities in the state that received a notice that they're on credit watch pending the outcome of the state budget, but we were not one of them.
Well, in the 4 years I've been here previously, our fund balance has been lower than even the
It has,
quarter.
correct, yeah.
We built that up.
We
over-
did.
Yeah.
Well, we lost close to $1 million in receipts from the golf course
Right.
in about 3 years. That made our fund balance go down to 8% range. Yeah.
But this one's driven by this, I mean.
They know when
nothing I can say.
when it was up to us, we did a nice job of restoring our fund balance. That was an issue for a while with the golf course, but we controlled that, and that didn't affect our credit rating either because we took steps to restore our fund balance. In this particular case, they know it's the state. If we didn't have such a strong financial picture, other towns that don't are feeling the pressure from this problem. So.
Nonetheless, it's gonna be, if that stays, the Beecher doesn't improve.
That could also be
We
up.
have some,
So then you have to decide on that particular issue, how much do you fund of that versus how much do you not fund?
right,
right.
And how much do they have to,
okay.
yeah.
When would we typically, when the state funds this, when would we typically get money in other
Or
years
no.
from?
So typically, we receive, cash flow is not necessarily a big problem for us in a lot of towns where their grants are 25, 35, 40% of their budget. Cash flow is a big problem because ECS, I think it's 50% of the ECS, or 25% of the ECS funding comes in October 1st or thereabouts. And each one of the grants is on a schedule. So, we start getting in, and then towards the end of the calendar year, we'll get in some of our town road aid, and sort of trickles in throughout the year.
Okay.
But October's a big month, which is why a lot of towns are, if you don't get their state grants, some of them won't be able to make payroll. As I was talking to some of the other finance directors, can't make payroll by probably the beginning of November. They'll have trouble making payroll,
Okay.
so,
Lucky them.
yeah.
Wow.
So then you have to issue temporary notes or do some borrowing to cover your cash flow shortfall. It's not pretty. Yeah. So,
Thank you.
okay.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Now we'll move on to 11B, funding requests.
Okay. There's one funding request for, we received a grant from the Cable Advisory Council of $73.94, and PUA is identified with the assistance of the Government Access Television Commission. A few improvements which are indicated, listed in her memo, particularly related to addressing the volume issue and some cabling of the, putting the cables under the floor so that they're not trip hazard, and some other items. And then the remainder should be, a plan for the remainder will be coming hopefully next month or two. This is 3, whatever.
So I'll make a motion to approve line item transfer 1718-04 in the amount of $4,806. Is there a second?
Second.
Anyone have any questions or discussion on this? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. And the next is 11C, the bid award for the road salt.
So this is a good example of how bids are helpful, particularly when it comes to commodities like salt and gas and oil and stuff like that. You can see we received 4 bids. High bid was $76, the low bid was $55.15. From Eastern Salt, we have used them in the past, and one of our big issues with salt is to make sure that we get salt deliveries, because a few years back there were some shortages of salt, and I believe they were the company at the time too, and they were honored their commitments, so we're very comfortable with them.
Was it compared to what we did this past season?
The price? It was similar, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you need a motion to?
Yes, to accept.
I'll make the motion.
Okay, to award the bid to Eastern Salt Company as the low bidder in an amount of $55.15 per ton. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any questions or discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. And last but not least, other?
No.
No others?
No other.
Okay. Thank you. Moving along to item 12, Assistant Administrative Officer's Report. Website update and whatever else you have, my friend.
I have a couple of things. So, just quickly, website update, you have a couple of pages in your packet describing some of the plans that are already moving in progress, including an update to what's called the site ID, which is the little kind of logo of our town seal and the Woodbridge, Connecticut. This is going to enable us to kind of recapture some of the space on the homepage. You may remember that when you open up the homepage, there's a very large photo, but there's also a very large banner at the top, and then you have to scroll to see content. Everything else stays in place. What we're looking to do is have the logo kind of superimpose on some new photos that take up less space, are going to highlight more of the beauty of the town of Woodbridge. Hopefully are going to be changing on a regular basis. So these are just some samples. We're going to take some more photos as we get some fall weather, some winter weather, and we'll look for other highlights around the town. We're looking at the ability to make new graphic buttons. This is all with the current website provider. This is not changing our website provider. So these are very small, just moving things around. It's just an update, not a redesign. But we're going to get a Photoshop template from them, which will allow us to change what the buttons are, if you remember where they are. And then if you look at the second page, this is a reconfiguration that we've asked for that will change what the lower part of our homepage looks like. So we went and looked at some of the other templates that this same provider uses for other municipalities, including Madison and West Haven. These are the 2 examples. But you will see our logo kind of float on top of a photo like this. The buttons are these middle pieces, they'll kind of overlap. And then what it's going to do is enable us to just focus on some events and news on the homepage. So those are things that we have in process. We'll be able to roll them out soon. I don't have exact dates yet from the vendor. But then in addition, there's a couple of other areas of focus that we'd like to focus on as well to kind of promote more content to the homepage. We talked a little bit about, at the last meeting, there are so many events happening, and we want to make sure that we can highlight them on our website. and then push them out to social media in addition to getting people back to the website to see what else is happening. So we did it a little bit with Fallapalooza. You know, we have a page at Fallapalooza, and we pushed that page out, asking people to come back to the website for details. One of the important reasons we did that is if there's ever a change in the schedule of the events. So we're looking to do that more with the website, and I'll have more of an update on that. To get on to my second item, Fallapalooza, we want to highlight a couple of the events that are happening, but we did have one change. The fall fashion show is no longer going to take place. So that's already been updated on the website. We're going to have, as they said, the Mazzaro folks were here to say on October 14th, we've got Mazzaro Family Fun Day, and we have the Regional Animal Control Pet Costume Contest at Blue Check. That's coming up this weekend. That's the 14th. Then we've got an event at the JCC on the 15th, along with the Darling House Open House
I think
for
that's,
cooking.
Is that at the library or at the JCC? I think it's at the library.
Yeah, I'm sorry, yeah, the JCC event is at the library, and then later on they have a pool party at the JCC. The Fall Fashion Show has been canceled. If you want to look for details, they're at the website. The Business Expo is still upcoming on the 21st. That's at the Willows. The JCC pool party on the 22nd. Final Friday at New England Brewing on October 27th. Pampered and Pink at Progression Salon October 28th. A costume party at Saloon, which sounds like a fun event in the evening. That's October 28th. And finally, we're ending up our Fallapalooza with the Woodbridge Volunteer Fire Association Truck or Treat and spectacular fireworks on the 31st. So those are the remaining events that we have here. And then lastly, we had in your packet this little just save the date for the microgrid. They're working very hard on getting that microgrid up and running and tested, and we're hoping to have the official ribbon cutting on December 7th at 10:30. So we want to just get you that as a save the date for now. We'll have more details on that, and we'll feature it at the website.
Thank you.
Yep.
Anybody have any questions for Cheryl?
I do.
Sure.
Is there any way to get the access to the some of the interior information in the website more streamlined?
Yeah.
I'll give you an example. I get a notification on my phone about a meeting, and they refer me to the agenda center, and then I have to go through this whole list to find what I want.
So I didn't go through it in detail, but in the additional areas of focus, we're looking at things like taking advantage of the Agenda Center functionality that would provide hyperlinks to attachments. Mm-hmm. So when you find out there's a meeting, instead of now have to look for the minutes, you would just click in the meeting notice and you would see the minutes. You're also able to create agendas where when the agenda appears on the page, you could click the item and see the PDF that's attached, mm-hmm. whatever it might be. And then at the same time, they have a notify me function, which you must be using when you're getting them. So in managing the subscriber list a little bit more, we can streamline this so that when we send out news by email, there's a click through that brings up all of the additional detail all in one shot. Mm-hmm. So there are also ways that we can use fillable forms. Beth mentioned that the ability to sign up to put out an A-frame requires you to come in and fill out a form. Well, the form can be made available on the website. So when we send out a notice to people to say, you know, if you want to fill out a form, it's available on the website, we would just make a click from the email right to the form, fill it out, hit submit, and it's downstairs in the office like that, instead of having people come in. So yeah, streamlining all the processes that happen at the website.
Is it feasible to establish a universal subscriber database?
Yeah, I actually asked them about this because there happens to be probably 18 different lists I can see in the panel. And I said to them, what if I have multiple people signed up to different lists, but I want to make sure that if they tell us they want to be on this list and not that list, we're giving them the right information. So I've asked them at Civic Plus the best ways to manage this. They actually turned on part of the module for me so that now I can download the list and re-upload it. Mm-hmm. So it is a matter of managing that data, but they do allow you to do some more fine-tuning.
Right. I mean, thinking forward, we're going to be having surveys come out. Mm-hmm. that would be an ideal mechanism for distributing.
Yeah, I know Recreation has already done a survey that they did. They just used SurveyMonkey, and then when it came back in, it wasn't part of the website system. So I'd like to see us do as much with our website as we can. So those are great ideas. Keep them coming.
Yep.
Thanks.
Thank you. Anything else? Okay, thank you. That's good. Yeah.
Thank you.
I wish I have about 85% of what understood about all that stuff you guys were talking about, so. Thank you. In your packet and under item 13, there's a resignation. Emily Melnick has resigned from the Woodbridge Board of Education effective immediately. And we accept her resignation with regret. And moving on to item 14, we have an appointment for the Woodbridge Board of Education to June 30th, 2019. Are there any nominations?
I'd like to nominate Claire Elise Coleman. She's an attorney here in Woodbridge. She's currently serving on as a member on the Woodbridge Board of Assessment Appeals. Has also served on the Board of Ethics in the past. Has a couple of children in the Woodbridge School Center. I'd like to nominate her for that commission position.
She's David King's stepdaughter as well, I could just add, and Diane King's daughter, so known a long time in the town of Woodbridge. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any other nominations? It's an elected Democratic, yeah, okay, thank you. Joe and I talked about that ahead of time. Okay, all in favor of Claire
Aye.
to fill out the form?
Aye.
Okay, none opposed, thank you so much. Town clerk's report. I'll make a motion that we accept the report from the town clerk dated September 1st, 2017 through September 30th, 2017. And the second one by Department Distribution, July 1st, 17 through September 30th. Official records, both. The state is $26,323.75, town $11,529.25. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Minutes. In your packet, you have the minutes of the Board of Selectmen regular meeting of September 13th, 2017. Is there a motion to approve the minutes? Thanks, Joe. Second?
Second.
Thank you. Any additions, corrections, changes? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. And now I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Now.
Oh, get out, get out.
Stay.
Okay, all in favor?
Just aye.
Aye. So what time does it get started? 8, right?